Good morning, nakap, everyone. So this morning we are going to continue talking about our Microsoft Power BI, the report file that we did on the last class, and then we just would like to continue on talking about the next topic. All right, on the last class we talk about the measure that we have to use in order to calculate a specific value of data. All right, okay, let me just show you for what we did. On the last class, we talked about two different things or two different values that we would like to calculate as the extra pieces of data that we would like to have. We talked about the columns first. Okay, the column is the way that we use Microsoft Power BI to help calculating the extra column of values. For example, when we would like to calculate something, for example, if you would like to calculate the sales amount that come from two different columns or two different fields that we have got. For example, the sales amount, we have to use the unit price multiplied by quantity. The best way in order to do is we have to create a new column so that the data can be just viewed. Hang on, let's see. The data can be created for every single record of the data that we have got. So in this case, we have to use column to create. So in this one, when we create the column, the things that we can see is that it will, Power BI will help calculating the extra value for every single records that we have got. In this case, for example, if you would like to have sales amount, in every single record, we have to use the column. And when the column is created, it will be created in every single record by using the same formula. For example, in this one, you can see that we multiply unit price by quantity. So in this case, every single record in the table will be shown as a value of the new column that we created. So in this case, you can visualize the data as we want, because actually, when you have created a new column, it is shown in the table straight away. When we create a column, that's why I just recommend you to create a column in the same table that you use most of the data from that table. For example, in here, we know that the sales amount come from unit price multiplied by quantity. And you say that, okay, the unit price and quantity are in the orders detail table. So sales amount column should be created in the order detail table as well. So sometimes we found that the column that we created might be created from the column or a field in more than one table. For example, we said that for the net sales, we have to calculate from gross sales, subtracted by orders detail, subtracted by tax amount plus the handling fee. You can see that for the gross sales column and tax amount column, they are in the orders detail table. While the handling fee, we had this column in the orders table. We created this column in the orders table. You can see that if we have to refer to a column or to a field from another table, you need to use the DAX function or data analysis expression function. That is what we call related. Related is a function that we use in order to call a field from another table. For example, in this case, handling fee column is from orders table. The easy way to do is that you just simply type related and then you open parentheses. Once you open parentheses already, it will list out all possible fields in your data from this Power BI straight away. For example, in here, when I open up, it lists out all possible fields from different tables in this Power BI. So when you know that it's from orders table, it's handling fee, right? We just choose this one and close parenthesis. So this one is to relate or to retrieve the data from another table. In this one, the column will be created. After we finish talking about the column already, we found that some of the data, that we would like to have, might not be in each record, but it's just like the summary of some records. Oh, sorry, it is a summary from some fields of this table. For example, if you would like to have like the total sales amount, if you would like to have average discount, if you would like to have maximum tax amount, if you would like to know the minimum gross sales, the things like this must be like the summary value. It is not just like from one record. So that means if we have to create a column, it is not the correct way. Even though the function, the DAX function that we use is just like the DAX function, similar to like the related, it is the DAX function as well, but we created in a column. So right now, you can see that if we have to use the column once again, for example, if you would like to find the sum of the sales amount, and you try to just like create a new column, after that, if you just like would like to use a sum function, we use sum and open up the parenthesis, and then you sum the sales amounts. Okay, it is sales amount here. You can see that even though you can write this function in the DAX to create a column anyway, but the result that is showing is just like duplicating. You can see that the column that we created has the value that is 1.35 million for every single record in here. So this one, this is not what we should do. The reason is because if you want to show 1.35 million, you just like have to create it somewhere, not in every single record like this. So that's why, if we have just like one piece of data, that is the summary value of this table in whatever fields. You have to use another tool that we call it as measure instead. It's a measure instead. So in this one, when we have to create a measure, the things is quite similar to create a column. But there are a couple of things that are different. For example, if I use a measure to create the sum of the sales amounts, let's see what will happen. I click on new measure first. And after that, I name it. Suppose I say that this is test sales amount. Some sales amount measure, okay. And then I use the function sum, similar to the column that I just like recently created, and I told you that it is not the way that we do. Then I just sum sales amounts in here. So you can see that right now, this is like the new measure that we created, and see what happened. When I press enter, you can see that Power BI accepts this function. How do we know that we have this function or this measure in our table here? If you have a look, in the orders detail table, I have, when I scroll down, I have a measure called test sum sales amount measure. It's here. And then I can just like click on the field list so that I can see the formula of this test sum sales amount measure. And then I can change it whenever I want. But the things that make the measure to be different from column is that measure does not display the value นะครับ in the table content. In here you can see that in the data นะครับ for the data of the table you don't see any measure นะครับ at all. This one doesn't mean it's wrong นะครับ you are doing the things correctly if you create a measure. It will not be displayed in the data content in the table content. The reason is because a measure นะครับ a measure is a piece of data only. It doesn't belong to each record นะครับ so that's why it doesn't show in this table content นะครับ whenever you would like to display the value of the measure นะครับ you have to use visualization tools in order to display. For example นะครับ for example you may use card นะครับ you may use card นะครับ or multi-row card to display that value. For example in here if I want to display นะครับ test sum sales amount measure here นะครับ I just click on card นะครับ because card is used to display a piece of data นะครับ at the time. Then I just click on the measure that I would like to show the value นะครับ in this one I use test sum sales amount measure. You can see that it shows 1.35 million นะครับ 1.35 million. It's the same as what we calculated in the column that I told you นะครับ in this one you can see that it is 3.5 million in the column as well, but in the column here it's duplicated in every single record and we normally do นะครับ so now instead of creating as a column นะครับ to show the summary of the data you have to use a measure instead นะครับ so somebody asked me นะครับ before that that student get the what to say had to do the assignment นะครับ had to do the presentation of this measure นะครับ that is like the card นะครับ and that student asked me that how can card be display the value นะครับ normally a card is used to display a piece of data only. Normally a piece of data in Power BI means the summary value. It might be the summary value from sum, from average, from max, from min นะครับ those are just like example of one piece of data that can be displayed. Because if you say that okay you have net sales นะครับ that are different นะครับ from record to record นะครับ they are absolutely different from the net sales column. And if you try to use just a piece of card นะครับ to display นะครับ a piece of card to display all the net sales you cannot do that นะครับ so what happened if I say that okay I use a card to display net sales column you can see that in here นะครับ instead of showing a piece of data they try to just like find the sum of this values instead นะครับ that okay it depends on you. Sometimes the data that you would like to show is not the sum but you would like it to display the average นะครับ so that means this card นะครับ cannot be shown like that one. Or sometimes if you say that what about the multi-row card and you try to just like use multi-row card to display the net sales instead นะครับ in the order details. Okay, let's see. You can see that in here. It tries to help you as much as it can นะครับ but in this one you can see that it just like for multi-row card somebody expect that okay I would like to show every single net sale of every single record but it doesn't do the same thing as you wish นะครับ it just like try to sum instead that is like 1.6 million for the net sales instead นะครับ so you have to pick the correct tools in order to display those kind of like the values นะครับ as you want. For example for the net sales like this if you have a look you can see that you have just like 2,000 different net sales to be displayed. In this one, instead of using this, you may have to use something like the line chart instead. Okay, and then just like maybe followed by some other things, for example, the order ID, something like that to display instead. Or you may say that, okay, I want to display by using category of the product instead to display the net sale of each product category. In here, you may have to use like product and then choose category ID instead. Here. Okay, so this is the example in order to just like use what we got from measure and from columns that we have. They use even though they use like similar tools in order to create measures and in order to create columns by just like using the DAX to help. But the objective of the measures and columns are different. Columns are used in order to just like create the value for each record like this one like net sales column, gross sales column, while the measure is used to summarize the value that we have got. For example, we would like to find the total sales amount, or we would like to find the average value for the whole table. Then we will use measure to help. Okay, so now you know already how to create columns and measure. The next thing, apart from creating measures and column, what else that we have to know? You can see that originally when we created when we created this Power BI report file, we get the data from an Excel file, right? We get the data from Excel file. Today, we are going to learn about getting the data from different kind of data source, different kind of data source, because from the beginning, we learned just from the Excel workbook only. So today, we will understand more different, more type of the data source that you have to know, because in the future, when you have to just like work with Power BI, for sure, different company or different organization will use different source of data. Some of the organization, they would like you to use Power BI in order to visualize the data from the generated file that they have got. You can see that normally for Excel file, most of the thing that we have to do is that, okay, maybe somebody else use or create that created that Excel file for you. But now when we talk about like the next type of the data source, it is the text or CSV file. This kind of file is a file that normally it's automatically generated from some other systems. For example, if the company has a system that is called as the POS system, POS or point of sale systems. It is a system that you normally see this kind of system in terms of just like the retail store or convenience store, like if you go to 7-Eleven, or if you go to department store, let's see, you will see the cash registration machine that they have the drawer underneath, and also on the cashier screen, they also have just like sometimes some of the system, they are the touch screen, while some of them they have the keyboard in order to let the cashier to type on some numbers. Also, the customer may see like may have one screen as well to see what the cashier just type in or scan the product code, or just like charge you the amount of money. That kind of registration machine, cash registration machine, we call it as POS system or point of sale systems. It records all the sales transaction in the machine. Apart from that one, it sends those data into the server. So that means at the end of the day, if you would like to see that how much that the department store can sell the products. So the server will just like summarize all the things and then it can generate the list of the sales transaction for you. So those kind of the sales transaction, it will be generated as the CSV file. What else that we can see the data that is generated by text or CSV file. You can see that right now we have like some machines. Some machines, for example, we talk about like the smartwatch. Okay, let's say a smartwatch. It tracks for your exercises per each day. For example, when you just like walk in the morning time, for having just like jogging or walk, it counts number of steps that you have done so far. It may also just like measure your heartbeats. Also, it may just like use in order to calculate or just like show the GPS location to just like let you sync your smartwatch with your computer or your smartphone, and then send the data of your walking or jogging track for this morning. Also, it records the time as well. These data when it just like sent from smartphone to your when it sent from your smartwatch to your phone, or when it sends from your smartwatch to your computer, it sends the file as a text file or CSV file to be generated. Because text and CSV it is just like the common file that most of the machines in the world understand. What else? When we talk about the system that is what we call like IoT. For example, suppose we say that okay, we have just like smart plant watering systems, that it just measure the humidity of the soil, and also it may just like check the temperature. It also just like send this kind of data in terms of text file or CSV file automatically. And then if it is just like reach the level that it will just like watering the plant, it will just like automatically open up the water tap and sprinkle on that plant automatically, something like that. This is the example of the IoT. Or somebody said that what about like the smart air conditioning systems that you can see, you can watch in some advertisement, that you can just control it by using your smartphone by just like installing an application. That one, when the smartphone would like to communicate with the air conditioners, it does the same thing. It just exchange the data to each other together. For example, when you say that okay, you would like to turn on the air conditioners. Once you say that okay, you tap on the smartphone button to turn on the air cons. The air conditioners will send small text or CSV file to your smartphone immediately that okay, what is the current temperature? What is the mode of air conditioners that is on right now, and checking for the current temperature from the thermometer in the air conditioners. What is the date and time that you try to just turn on or turn off that aircon? It will be sent as a text or CSV file. So that's why, as I told you, it is a general form of the data file นะครับ that is universally used around the world. That's why text or CSV is one of the data type นะครับ or data source that you have to understand. Whenever you would like to get นะครับ or to import the text or CSV file, we do the same thing as we did with the Microsoft Excel นะครับ so let's see. I would like you to see the text or CSV file that we have got นะครับ and then I'll let you understand the format of text or CSV first. Okay, so everyone ครับ please go to your e-learning นะครับ please go to your e-learning so that we can get that file and then we have a look together. So if you scroll to the part of the Power BI, you can see that, hang on, let me see. Apart from sales order Excel file, you see another 7 files นะครับ employee suppliers until order. These are the CSV file that we have got นะครับ so everyone please download this file into your computer first นะครับ and then I'll explain this kind of data for you นะครับ okay, there are 7 files altogether. Okay, right. Okay, so this file, please download this file into your computer. All right, when you download these 7 files already นะครับ let's have a look on the downloaded folder นะครับ Okay, so these are 7 files that we downloaded. You can see that, okay, on my screen. It shows that the type of these files are Microsoft Excel, separated values file นะครับ while some of your Excel version นะครับ if it does not recognize this file, it will be shown as separated value files only นะครับ separated value file นะครับ in here actually this is CSV file นะครับ this is CSV file separated value file. So let me just like show you นะครับ let me just show you why that this file is called as separated value file. Actually, separated value file or CSV file is a kind of the text file. So that means if you have any word processing or if you have any text editor นะครับ you can open up this file นะครับ because in some computers we don't have Excel in it นะครับ so the way in order to see นะครับ the content of this file we have to use the text editor นะครับ or word processor to have a look นะครับ the content of this data. So นะครับ everyone I just want you to try. We just see order file first นะครับ don't double click นะครับ everyone. I would like you to right click on the order file นะครับ right click on the order file and then we choose open with นะครับ we choose open with, then you choose notepad นะครับ right click on the order file, choose open with notepad นะครับ and open it up. This is the real content of separated value file. You can see that we have lots of comma. Okay, let's see this one นะครับ 10248 WLILMK 5 7/4/1996 and so on นะครับ so these นะครับ example is an example of like one what to say one record นะครับ one record of data. So you can see that in the second row of this file นะครับ actually it has order ID, comma, customer ID, comma, and so on. Actually, I can tell you that this one, we expect it to be the headers of each column. So that means if you open up the CSV file นะครับ that means assume that you use this file นะครับ frequently, you know what it is. Then you can see that, okay, if you would like to see how many fields are there นะครับ or how many columns are there in this file, we have 1 order ID, 2 customer ID, 3 employee ID, 4 order date, 5 required date, 6 ship date, and 7 ship address full นะครับ and in each record you should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 7 different values นะครับ for different fields ครับ what about the first row? In this one, the first row has the value sales order ABC company. Actually, I can tell you that this one, if you remember, it was the header of the report. That is not the headers of the column, and we had to eliminate them when we just like get it into our Power BI. Okay. So in this one, when we have the CSV file like this already, what are we going to do? When we have the CSV file already, we have to get it into our Power BI. Same as like other file. Let's have a look. When you go to orders detail, we right click and then open with Notepad. This one is similar way as we had in the order file. The first row in here is the headers, the column headers. And lower than that, they are data that we have. In this one, it consists of 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 fields. All together in each record. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay. Now, customers file. Sorry, I just like accidentally click on this one. If you open up, I mean like for the Excel for like quite new or modern versions, it will just like try to integrate CSV file as a part of the file that Excel understand. And then you can use this one to have use Excel to have a look of the content directly. Or somebody just like still would like to use the Notepad. That is the text editor to see the content. You can do the same thing in here, right? For products, you have the data like this, and you can see that for the first row and second row, they are wrong. Actually, the first, I mean the headers of the column start from row number 3. Like this one, we will just like get them, and then we just like fix it later on. Categories. Okay, yeah, this is the category file. First row begins with the column headers, and then we follow by the content of it. Suppliers. Okay, and lastly, we've got employees. Right. Okay. So when we have the text or CSV file like this already, the way in order to get the data into our Power BI, because we have altogether 7 CSV files, then you have to get that data 7 times, one file, 1 time per each file. Okay, so let's see how we're gonna do that. So everyone, I would like you to new a Power BI report file. New a Power BI report file. You click on File menu and click New. So your Power BI will just like open up a new file for you, so that we can get that CSV file together. Okay. So in this one, I will begin with getting data. I click Get Data. The Power BI will ask you that what type of data would you like to get. We choose text/CSV. Text/CSV. So everyone, now we are on the new Power BI file. Don't mix up with the one that we created and we finish it as the ABC sales file. It's different one. Okay, create a new one first. Then you just like click Get Data, and then choose text/CSV. Now we try to just like get a CSV file. so that we see how it goes. So in this one, I will begin with the order file first. I get order, I get order file. Okay. Then I click open. Okay. So now the order file is just like reading, is read by Power BI. And then Power BI will just like ask you that, okay, this is the data type, or data, sorry, this is the data source that Power BI can read from this file. What would you like to do next? So in this one, there are something that you have to understand before you just like get this data file. Okay, the first part is here. Let's have a look here. In the red box that I draw, it has file origin, delimiter, and data type detection. So in this one, you have to understand a couple of things in here. The first one is the file origin. What is the file origin? File origin is the original type of the file that was created. For example, in here, I have this file because I created by myself. And my machine, everything is set up based on Thai language, based on just like the country that is Thailand as well. So the file origin here is in Thai. Why does Power BI detect like this? Firstly, it detects from the source of this file that was created. So for example, if you have a computer that you purchase in Thailand and then you just like have everything set up as a default thing and you didn't change anything. So if you send this file to other people, let's say your colleague is in Australia, and when they open this file, it will show that the file origin is in Thai. So that is nothing wrong. The things that I want you to do is that I want you to notice is here. Sometimes there are some columns that show data in just like different languages than English. You have to know that, okay, what is the origin? What is the file? Where is the file origin? If it is in Thailand, you just like choose set it up as in Thai. Just try it first. But if it is in other languages, you may have to ask, you may have to ask IT specialist of that company, or you can try by yourself as well. For example, if you just click on the drop-down list of the file origin, you can see that they have like different file origin that you can choose. From Korea, from China, from Arab, Central Europe, all the other things that you can just like choose. Why do you have to choose? In this one, if there's nothing wrong, you don't need to change the file origin. But whenever some text has been shown in some strange characters, like some alienated characters, then you have to choose the correct or the proper file origin. I mean, the majority of the data in this one, somebody said that, what about this? Hang on, let me see. Let me just like see something like this one in Sweden. In this record 10264, it's shown in Swedish language for sure. But I mean, like in this one, if you try to change it to be in Swedish file origin already, it makes other values in the same column to be wrong. So just like let's standardize it like this. The only thing that you have to know when you should just like change the file origin. You have to think that, okay, when this data, you know that originally, if you say that, okay, we expect that this file, column 7 here is just like Chinese, all Chinese, and it doesn't show the correct Chinese alphabets correctly, then you have to change file origin. How do you know that which file origin that you should use? In this one, if you say that, okay, column 7 นะครับ and other columns should be shown in Chinese, but in here it shows just like some alienated language. Then you have to know that, okay, file origin must be in Chinese. But anyway, if you say that, okay, there is no IT peopleนะครับ to help you, what should we do? How do you know that which file origin that you have to use? You just Google it straight away ครับ file origin for Chinese นะครับ for Power BI, what is the code? It will tell you, for example, if it said that, okay, in the Google, it suggests you that, okay, you should use 52936. Okay, then you just like choose from the drop down list that is 54936 and then choose it instead นะครับ but otherwise leave it like that. Next นะครับ delimiter. For the delimiter นะครับ you see the word delimiter again. If you remember นะครับ we found the word delimiter to split the column นะครับ once that we talk about just like splitting the columns for the chip address pool, if you remember. Now we see the delimiter again. This delimiter means that, okay, in this file, what symbol that they use to delimit the text นะครับ in each column. If you remember that I told you, it's here ครับ when we talk about the orders table here. They are all comma, right? So this one, it means that comma is the delimiter นะครับ is the delimiter for your file. Okay, so I go back to my file once again. Yeah, so actually Power BI tries to detect for you, but if it detects wrongly, you can change the delimiter to just like the proper delimiter that we have used นะครับ After that นะครับ this one is just like show the data นะครับ whether you would like to show just like the first 200 rows นะครับ to specify data type นะครับ or you would like to just like let Power BI to justify based on the entire data set. It's up to you นะครับ but the default one, it just based on first 200 rows นะครับ it sees the most probability in order to choose นะครับ or justify data type of each column for you นะครับ in this one, if I just like leave it like this, I can just choose load data นะครับ okay, so right now นะครับ we have to wait a bit in order to let Power BI to justify นะครับ and load everything for you. So right now you can see that we have the first table that is orders 1. My one is called orders 1 because the file in the CSV file was order 1 นะครับ file ครับ okay, now you get one data already, one table already. If you have a look in the data view นะครับ this is the order file นะครับ that we need to just like clean the data later นะครับ I'll clean the data when I just like load all of the data already นะครับ okay, when I go to the model view, I don't see anything นะครับ any relationship because I just like created or I just like load one file or one table only นะครับ all right, after that we do the same thing. We will load นะครับ the rest of the file that we get นะครับ from our e-learning นะครับ. I go to load the second file. When I would like to load the second file, I just simply go to home menu and then get data once again. Choose text/CSV and then choose the next file, orders detail. Okay. Then I just check all the data นะครับ and the file origin and delimiter that it has. Okay, this is okay. Then I load it. Now I get two different tables already, orders and orders detail. Then I go to get the third file นะครับ customers. Some of you may have the question like, can I have the data from different sources in one Power BI report file? For example, one table is from Excel, another table is from one CSV file, another table is from a database. The answer is yes ครับ you can just like mix the data from different sources in one Power BI report file. There is no problem at all นะครับ This one is customer file. Okay. Next. I get the product data. Okay. So it needs the data cleansing. I'll do it later. Okay. Then I get the rest of the file that I have got. Categories. Suppliers. The reason why you have to know that, okay, why do you have to teach you how to get the data from text or CSV? Because in the reality, the file might be sent from like different places. It might come in different sources of data. So that's why you have to know that, okay, getting the data in terms of text or CSV is also important that you have to know, because in the future, I'm sure that many of you will see the data that you have to get from different sources, and they come in form of CSV file for sure. Okay, now I load all of the tables that I would like to get from 7 different file from 7 different CSV file already. After that, okay, for my one, it's ended with parenthesis 1. I don't want it. I'll just like go to change to rename this file first to not have the parenthesis 1. Okay. For your one, if the name is okay already, you don't need to change. You can leave them like that. But for my one, I don't want parenthesis 1 as a part of the name. I will just like rename it. Somebody said that, can we just like rename the file that we get in the download folders before we get into PowerBI? Yeah, that is one good idea. You can do it as well. But in this one, because I didn't do it over there, so that's why I just like come to rename it in the PowerBI instead. So now I rename all the tables already. I'll go to transform the data. I click transform data. And then I start cleaning. Do the cleansing process. In here, I don't want row number 1. Because it's just like the report header before. I just remove top row. I don't want row number 1. Yeah, and after that, row number 1. The new row number 1 will become the headers of this table. I choose use first row as header. So order table, it's okay now. Next, I go to order detail. This one is okay. Customer table, yeah, I have to use first row as headers instead. Okay. Products, yeah, this one I don't want row 1, row 2. Then I will just like remove first 2 rows. Okay, so everyone just like do the same thing as I do, so that you just like review for what we have to do for data cleansing as well. I delete, I remove the first 2 rows first, so that I have the first row that should be our real headers. I use the first row as headers now. Then I get the correct one already. Next, category is correct already. Next table, suppliers. Yeah, it's correct already. And the last one, employees. So it's correct already. By the way, you can see that in this one for the employee birth date, hire date, it is text. That is not what we want. Actually, it should be the date. Data type. You may just change it here. Because why it becomes the text file. Sorry, but why it becomes a text data type. The reason is because it is originally from CSV file that everything was text before. That's why because it has slashes in this data, then Power BI will detect that this one is not the number. Then it just like detect it as a text if it is not the number. But sometimes it cannot detect it as a date. Then you have to help Power BI. Otherwise, when you just like have to deal with like the date like this, you cannot do that. So in this one, if you say that it's a date, just change it as a date. Don't forget, whenever you do something in Power Query Editor, and it asks you that, okay, whether you would like to replace current step or add a new step, always choose add new step, because if you do something wrong and you want to undo, you can undo just like simple step at a time. Now I choose add new step. Yeah. So in this one, it has some errors. It has some errors. In this one, then you may have to just like change by using some other things. For example, in this one, if you say that, okay, it's a date. It is in other languages, in English instead. If I choose English Australia. Okay, this one. You can see that if it doesn't work here, you may have to just like undo it first, and then let Power BI to just like justify it later on. Yeah, okay. In this one, you have to use English, the US date instead. Okay, this one is wrong. Then you have to undo first. So if there's still like when you see the date on your data in the table, it looks okay, but when you change it by using the data type and it's wrong, then you may have to just like try what English version of that date should be okay. And then you just like change it accordingly. For example, in here, I said that I have to change it to be English US. Then it will be correct one. Yeah. So it looks like this one. Okay. So let's see. I have to see the orders table. Yeah, this one, as I expect, the dates for orders table, it's still ABC order text data type. You have to change it to be the date data type. But as I mentioned earlier, in this one, when you test already that from the employees table, the data type must be date, but locale is in English US, so that it will just like convert everything correctly. Then you just use that one English US like this. Same as required date and ship date too. Okay. Some of you may have the question that when I change a date, change the data type to be date, why does it show the month in Thai characters or Thai alphabets here? The reason is because in this computerนะครับ and also Microsoft Windows that I install นะครับ it knows that the location here is in Thailand. So that's why it just like display the month in Thai like this. But if you just like say that you are you just like get the computer and Microsoft Windows that is international or just like specific country, the month will be according to that country as well when it's displaying, something like that. Okay, so for the rest of them, it should be okay now. When everything is okay, we just close and apply. Just close and apply. When we finish, cleansing the data already, the next thing that you have to look is that you have to go to the model view and see whether everything is just like linked properly already or not. If everything is correctly linked or relate to each other, every single table at least it must have one line to link that we call it as relationship that we call it as relationship. So you can see that right now you can see that right now every single table it has the relationship already it has relationship already. So this one that means it's okay now you don't I mean like you don't have to create any relationship by yourself because right now Power BI justify this for us okay right okay and then you can just like do the rest of the thing that you want. For example, you may create any table any columns, any measure and then split any columns to be just like the text that you want to have like a country so that you can use field map straight away. Then you just like simply save this file. Okay, so everyone just save this file. We will name this file. Hang on, let me just go to the folder. As ABC sales. In the parentheses. CSV file. CSV files. Okay. And then you click save. All right. So when you save this file already, just close this file first. Just close this file first. Close all of the Power BI file. I'll show you something after this. All right. So if you remember, for all of you, when you download these files, when you downloaded this file from the e-learning, most of your file destinations folder were in download folder, right? Okay. And then you can see that when I just like save my Power BI file, I save it in another folder. I didn't save it in the download folder. Okay. So when I would like to send this package of the Power BI file to other people, normally I have to just like attach the Power BI file together with the Excel file just in case that they would like to edit it later on. Okay, now let's see. Okay, I just like move these downloaded files into the folder that consists of the ABC Sales CSV file altogether. Oh, by the way, I think I don't want it to mix up with just like my other file. I create another new folder in here. Okay. Assume that I name it as ABC CSV file folder, and then I paste all the files here. Okay. So right now, if I send the file to other people, for letting them, for allowing them to edit this file as well, I have to send ABC Sales CSV file, and all the CSV file to them. Okay, right. Now, if you just like move all of the files to be in the location like this already, I want you to open up this file once again, the Power BI file once again. So now the file that I have to open up is ABC sales CSV file that we just recently get the data from the CSV file in there. I would like you to see something. Okay. So now these are just like the files that we have got and then we just like clean all the data already. Assume that right now I say that, oh, I have to split the ship address full into another column that is just a country, shipping country only. If you remember, I told you that in order to split the column, we have to go to Power Query Editor, right? So I'll go to Power Query Editor and let's see what happened. So I go to Home menu, choose Transform Data. Okay, so now let's have a look on my Power Query Editor screen. Right now, in the order table, it shows the error. This one, it shows data source error, could not find file download the orders 1.csv from the download folder anymore. What happened? In this one, you cannot do anything. Right now, you cannot split the file or doing anything because Power Query Editor cannot find your data file anymore. Right? What happened? The things that happened is that I change the location of my data file. If you remember, I told you that I just like move it from I move it from download file, download folder I move it to a new folder called ABC CSV file in there. So that's why Power BI does not acknowledge your action that you move this file into ABC CSV file folder. This one makes you unable to change or edit any data or clean the data anymore. So what do we have to do? This one might be happen with you in the final exam, because sometimes you may want to move, or you just like move your data file or you delete data file out. One thing you have to know even though your Power BI report file is finished already, do not delete any data files. If you delete data files, it will cause the same thing. When you go to Power Query Editor and Power Query Editor cannot see that file, it shows the error, and then you cannot do anything with the Power Query Editor. So in this one, how do we gonna fix the problem? In order to fix the problem here, because I change or I move the data file into another place, I click go to error first. Okay. Now when this problem exists, you have to go to the first step. You have to go to the first step of that table. It's here, source. We click on source. You click on source. And then you can see that in the yellow bar, it shows edit setting for you. Edit setting for you. In this one, is the tool to remapping your data file. You click edit setting. It will tell you that, okay, this is the file path that we have got, that we had before. The file path or the location that file was stored is in the download folders, right? The file name was order1.csv. Okay, this is the original setting that it has. Then you change the location. You just click browse. And then you go to the new folder that you keep the file. Okay, this file is order file, right? You click นะครับ to choose that file นะครับ in the new location and then click open. Now the file path is changed already to the file in the new location for us นะครับ when you have this click OK click OK now the file comes back already see that okay by the way นะครับ because we have to remap everything นะครับ when we remap the things that you did with the old file was removed นะครับ the cleansing that we did was removed you have to clean it again so นะครับ this is a problem of just like changing the file location after you close the Power BI file already นะครับ okay so the same thing happened to order detail table as well you click source and then go to edit setting and then choose the new location that you have got นะครับ all right okay assume that okay you just like finish these two file already นะครับ okay when you go back to Power BI when you go back to Power BI you can see that นะครับ you can see that in here apart from going to transform data and then just change the location over there you can change the location setting from this Power BI screen as well for example if you say that for the categories let's see I have a question นะครับ if I load the file and then I move out of the download to desktop immediately can I do it so the things that I have to tell you is that นะครับ if you download the file นะครับ before you create your Power BI when you would like to move your file to any places you do it at that time ครับ before you start getting that data into Power BI you can do it but if you move the data after you get that data into Power BI already then you have to just like change the file location as we are doing here นะครับ to change the location the basic term we call it as to remap your location of the file นะครับ in here okay so now let's see นะครับ if I just like would like to I would like to change the location of the categories file in here the things I have to do is that I have to go to choose data source setting นะครับ it's the same thing I choose data source setting in this one you can see that it shows the list นะครับ of all CSV files that we have got นะครับ the current one you can see that for the orders and orders detail we changed it already นะครับ to be in the new folder while the rest of them นะครับ they are still mapping to the folder downloads นะครับ to this file anyway so in this one นะครับ if you want to change the categories นะครับ file to be located in the ABC CSV file folder นะครับ you just like click on that file first and choose change source นะครับ then it just like pop up the same window as like you saw in the Power Query editor นะครับ you can just like click here instead I go to change the customer file location employees product and suppliers okay right now every file has been remapped already นะครับ you can click close and then click apply changes so everything will be just like remapping and recalculating in Power BI นะครับ okay all right So now let me just like go back to the Power Query Editor once again. Okay, to see whether there's something error or not. Okay, order table is correct, order detail correct, customer correct, product table correct, categories correct, suppliers correct, and employee correct. Let me just like see the orders table a bit. Okay, so this one, the data type is just like rejustified. Yeah, okay. So this one is correct already. Apart from moving the file to another folder, another problem that I usually see is that if you rename the original data source, like this one. Suppose I go to the ABC file that ABC CSV file folder that I kept, and assume that I rename products table. I said, oh, this one is not good. I want to have just product file, not products in the parentheses too. I just delete it here. I have to rename it. You can see that my original file name is products without parentheses anymore. By the way, if you want to do anything in Power Query Editor regarding to the products file, let's see what happened. I go to transform data, and then I go to products table. You can see that right now, if you have a look for the source setting, right now it's still linking to products to file but right now the products to file in our folder, we don't have it anymore. We have just products file not products number 2 anymore. So the things that we have to check we have to do that. Okay, whether this one is correct or not. Let's see. Suppose I say that, okay, I want to duplicate column 2 in here. Insert a new step. This is the problem already. Because whenever your Power Query Editor detects that your original file is not there, right now we don't have any products to file anymore. That's why it shows the error immediately. Then you have to just like go back to the source setting and then just change the file to be the new files that we have got. Okay, and then I click OK. Right. So then I just like, let's say if I duplicate the column. Right now you can see that I can just duplicate the column already because I just like remap the file from products to be products file already. Then I can just like do it according to what I need. All right. Okay. Right. So if you just like know ahead, okay, I just like don't apply query editor here. In the Power BI file, okay, I just like want to change the data source setting in Power BI screen. I can do it as well. I know that my product file is changed. The name is changed from products to be products already. I just click change source and change my products, the mapping from products to be product file. Then click open. Okay, now I get like products.csv is linked to this Power BI report file already. I click close and apply changes. Okay. When I apply changes already, then when I go to transform data, I don't need to just like do anything anymore about the products table. Now that means if I want to duplicate product name, I can do it straight away like this. Okay. Right. So this is a thing that we need to do in order to just like get the data in terms of the CSV file. And then you can just like do the rest of the steps as you would like to have. Okay then นะครับ everyone up to this point do you have any questions ครับ about getting a CSV file Okay, so if you don't have any questions นะครับ about CSV file, okay, let me just like talk a bit for like what we did นะครับ The things we did was that we get the data นะครับ from the e-learning that are just like different 7 CSV files all together. You can see that in this step นะครับ you got like 7 files and then we go to Power BI and then we can just like get one file at a time. The file type นะครับ that we learned today is what we call CSV file นะครับ The special information for CSV file is comma separated value file. It's a kind of text file นะครับ that we just like normally find in most of the programs around the world นะครับ that can generate this CSV file. So that one it is useful for Power BI because I mean we can use Power BI to get this data type, sorry, this kind of data file to just like process it or visualize it as well. So for example นะครับ suppose you say that oh I have just like the data from my smartwatch that Ajahn Paramin tell me that okay it just like come in terms of the CSV file. So what can I do with my CSV file on my smartwatch? If you can download that file into your computer นะครับ you can get it by using Power BI and then plot the graph นะครับ for your exercise information as well นะครับ in here. It just like know how do you gonna work out, what is your workout pattern, how many steps in each day that you walk นะครับ what is the progress นะครับ you can just like see the things from those information as well, or you can just like use the GPS location that is recorded in your smartwatch and generated as a CSV file in order to just like create นะครับ the destination or the graph that show us about just like the location that we just like go to have a jogging in each day. For example, you say that okay in March 2022 นะครับ you just like stay in Thailand and then you just like do the exercises around Salaya area, and in May 2022 you go to Japan นะครับ and then just like do the exercises over there นะครับ after that from June, July and August นะครับ you are in Norway and then you do the exercises over there, then you can just like do the visualization of those workouts as well นะครับ. So this is the usefulness of using CSV file with our Power BI. Apart from that one นะครับ when you get the data into Power BI file, if it is the CSV file นะครับ you have to know that normally if the data is separated like in this example is separated into 7 different files, you have to get those 7 files นะครับ one at a time. It's different from the data in Excel workbook because in one workbook you can have many worksheets, right? But actually for the CSV file, it's just a plain text file. In one file, it has just like one set of data only that is equivalent to one table or one worksheet. That means if you would like to have like 7 different worksheets or 7 different tables, you have to get them 7 different times. And don't forget that when you get those files into your Power BI already, data cleansing is really important because normally, especially for the CSV file, if your Excel is not integrated with this CSV file, the way in order to open it up, you can just like have a basic view by using Notepad. Right click to choose open with and then choose Notepad. You can see that for this data file, if you have a look on the Notepad, okay, let me just like choose orders table, okay. You can see that this one, sometimes you don't understand what it means. How many fields are there นะครับ What's wrong with the first row, something like that. Sometimes you don't know that, oh, this one The error is that because first row actually it should be the headers, but in here it is something like the header of the report, not the header of the field, something like this. The way to do is that you have to clean it in Power BI, because you can see that sometimes when somebody else send this data file to you, or sometimes if you use the file to be mapped with the server let me just like give you an example how it looks like. Okay, let me just show you an example. Okay, suppose we say that okay, this is the server this is the server. And then you have POS system the cash registration machine that you have got around the country. When the POS or point of sale system generate the data for you, you may get the data in the database in the server like this. Suppose I say that okay, this is order file and orders detail that we have got. Suppose your computer is here and then you have a Power BI file. The things that happen is that every day when the POS update the file update the data into orders.csv and orders detail.csv, your Power BI will get the data from this server every time you open Power BI report file. The things that happen is that if you don't clean it the data in orders and orders detail.csv that come to Power BI will not be usable. That means you have to just like do the same thing as we did to clean the data first. And next time when you open up the same Power BI report file, it just like get the latest version of data from orders and orders detail.csv for you automatically. So this is the things that I just like want you to know, that when you have the CSV file when you would like to use it with your Power BI report file, make sure that the first time when you get this CSV file, you clean them already, and then you just like check the model already that okay, orders and orders detail.csv, all of them just like set up properly and the relationships are correct, so that when the next time you just use the same Power BI report file, all the data has been processed properly according to your preset that you just like clean all the data already. Okay, right. Okay, so this is the part that you should know about like getting the data in form of the text or CSV file. On the next class I will talk about how to get the data in the form of the web page on the web page file. For example let me just like show you an example here. Like on the next class I'll talk about like the box office data in different countries around the world or globally, and then we will just like use the data. For example let me just show you. Here I'll use the information in here to process in Power BI. How do you gonna do that? because in the future, some of you may have to analyze the data from external sources. For example, you just like have the data that has been sent by your suppliers, that they have some updated the price of the products, the date of delivery for each product,นะครับ, the date of manufacturing,นะครับ, and the manufacturing schedule from your suppliers,นะครับ. It might be in a web-based format like this. So you have to learn how to process those data. Okay, so นะครับ that should be all for the part of getting data in terms of the CSV file. Up to this point, do you have any questions, ครับ anyone?